we are back after what feels like the most incredible intensive week ever. Holy moly, welcome to another episode of Christian Women in Business. If you are feeling like life is just throwing stuff at you left, right, and center, things are feeling crazy and wild, you've kind of come through the point of overwhelm, gone past overwhelm, and you're just laughing at things, this is where we are up to with life right now. So if you don't follow me, I shared on my own Instagram page, Sarah Jane Meson, about being in a Job season and how incredibly wild this season has been. And quite a few people messaged and commented about how they're kind of feeling the same. And I was I've had so many kind of revelations over this weekend about it, and I'm gonna bring you kind of up to date with everything that's been going on, and despite all the other previous stuff, and that, even just being able to record this podcast today is like a miracle in itself. It's been wild. Before I get onto that, though, we did have our first coffee and catch-ups on the Sunshine Coast a couple of weeks ago, and I have got new dates and new locations. So for May, we are going to be meeting on the 8th of May for the Sunshine Coast. Same place, grounded at 1 by 7 a.m. You will need to register. You can register through the events page on the website. And this is just so we know numbers, and it's just creating a process for us to register. So you can go and do that on there. And then for our Brisbane ladies, on the 15th, the week after, the Thursday after, we are going to be meeting in Brisbane. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head what suburb I picked, but again, if you head over to the events page, this is going to be a brunch, not an early breakfast. So Brisbane's going to be brunch. Sunshine Coast is going to be early breakfast. I'm trying to tie in with the cultures of each location. But the cafe is called Peach Cafe. Again, register through the events page on the website. It's got all the information on there, christianwomeninbusiness.co/events. And you can get yourself booked in. Now, we are changing things around a little bit. So everyone gets one meetup for free, like one catch up for free. Come and see what it's like and, bring a friend, whatever. And then instead of having to become a sisterhood member just to be able to join in with the business socials, with the coffee and catch-ups, you can join. They are the same price per month, but you can either pay once off just to join in for the coffees and catch-ups if you want. It's $25, or you can become a member for $25 per month, and you'll get access to our private Facebook group, the community, the directory, and all the other things that you get as a bonus of becoming a member. So it does work out better to become a member, but if you don't want to commit to monthly or annually, then you can just pay once off and just come for the community building and in-person things. So that's really exciting. They're all up on the website. Go and register. And we've also got our Thrive Quarterly Business Reset coming up on the 22nd of May as well. So that's online. You can join in from anywhere in the world. It's from 10:30 a.m. Queensland time, Brisbane, Queensland time, and it goes for a few hours. And we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different with this one. We're going to be introducing a peer-to-peer mentoring section. So before, we've done workshops in the morning, and people have been wanting to discuss and really just share what's going on in their business. And we want to kind of allow people to do that. And we feel like it's just a real valuable piece of time. So we're going to be introducing peer-to-peer mentoring for this quarterly reset, and we're going to see how it goes. We're going to test, we're going to try. Each person's going to be given a block of time for them to share. So everyone gets a go at having their time to share if they want to. And then, we'll move on to our facilitated God time and then on to goal setting. So that's really exciting. Again, that is on the events page of our website. So go check it out. You need to register for all of them. Exciting things are happening for CWIV. I feel like we've gone from 0 to 100 and, God's shifting. And this is going to tie in to the story that I want to share with you today about a Job season and how, with being a business owner and having that type of calling on your life, it can feel like sometimes you're in the trenches. And I'm doing this kind of self-discovery with a friend of mine who's actually putting this together and doing a case study on herself as well. And I can show you the link if you go to the Wildery on Instagram, and it's Stacey who's running it. She's kind of built this amazing journey to take yourself on to kind of look at your life and answer some really deep questions. And while doing that and being in the process of doing that, and then while all this other crazy stuff has happened, it's allowed me to see different themes that have happened throughout my own personal life. And after kind of reviewing that and reflecting that, and I'm still in the process of doing that, and then so we've done CWIB now for 8 years nearly, I think. I should know that, but I don't. And then being in business for 10 plus years, I've done business journeys with a lot of different business owners, especially doing it in like a community like CWIB, where you do meet a lot of people, and we are all about becoming the friend who walks beside you while you're doing your business. So you get to see a lot of and hear lots of different people's stories as well. And what I found most prominent, not just with me, but also with all the other people that I come in contact with daily and some amazingly close business friends as well, is so God has given us the calling to build business and also build mission. They both go hand in hand. We're kind of different to the norm of the way that God has put something really special in our hands to steward. But to do that, if you look at all the stories in the Bible, God put people through certain hardships to build their character and build who they are, and to build the faith and the obedience and the righteousness. Again, not meaning righteousness as in I'm a goody two shoes, righteousness as in faith. He puts like things in our past to kind of build and to build that faith, to build that resilience in our faith, to build the obedience, the trust that, oh my gosh, what the hell is happening? I don't know, but I'm still going to trust you, God. And I've seen it time and time again. Now, I remember so for me, the patterns have been, I'll just take you from coming to Australia. So I was granted some money for some bad stuff that happened to me in the UK that allowed me to fund my trip to Australia. And it was a good amount of money. And when I got to Australia, I did find Jesus. This was after this event, though. I had a sequence of events that kind of struck me of everything while I was over here, like dud cars, people just not being very nice and ripping me off. Being a fresh young girl in a new country, they're like, oh, we can, let's take advantage of this girl. And so I was stripped back. And right after that being stripped back and feeling like, oh my gosh, season, there was an upgrade. The upgrade that time was actually finding Jesus. And then I found my husband then. And, things started to fall into place. Then it happened again. So I was married by this time, like things had kind of settled down a bit, but we were going to get ready for a development, and we had bought a property that God told us to buy, which was amazing. And we bought it, but we knew that we kind of had to sell everything to make the development work. We had to sell our wedding car that was nice, like car, his like boy car, middle-age crisis man car, if you bought it now kind of thing. We had to sell our really nice van and get a really dodgy ute. At that time, Nath lost a lot of hours within his work. So trying to fumble our way through, trying to build capital when in fact capital was being taken away was a really hard slog. Luckily, we had a family member that took us in. So we moved out of our house, put tenants in. We basically lived like that for about 6 years, and that did pay its toll. Like that was some hard yards. Maybe not 6 years, but no, I reckon it would have been at least 4, because we had 2.5 years of house sitting, and then before we did that, we had 2 years of doing that. So, yeah, it would be about 4 years of either living under someone's roof, living really rough, not on the street, but, like, not having our own space, and then moving into house sitting, and then living by faith literally of house sitting, and God providing our next place to live. But in that season, it felt again like everything had been stripped back. And then the faith had to like grow, it had to produce. I was getting deep into the word of God and understanding all those types of things of also kind of what I'd been taught in church. I tried to be really, really, really gentle and not offensive, but once you get into the Bible and like really get into it, it really does challenge you to think about how church is run today. But that's a different topic. But it challenged me, and it challenged me big. And then the upgrades came. So we were able to buy the properties. We were able to gain income to keep buying, and kind of the upgrade was there. I was stepping out in CWIB, things were happening, business was growing, and we were doing renovations. I mean, it was a crazy full on time. I literally went into burnout. Super, and that's another lesson in itself. But like we made it through, and so that was two major strip backs, and then propels with the upgrades, understanding how to manage. And then I feel like these past 3 years have been another stripping back, and it has been a really, really hard 3 years. And I'm not playing victim. Like, I'm still alive. I've still got good health. Things have been thrown in along the way, but like the basics are there. But they have been hard. Family members dying, obviously separating from my husband, operations, like literally two different properties were trashed by tenants at two different times. Trying to manage the operations. We lost a lot of money in the last conference of CWIB, which was another really, really hard thing for me. God did pull through. Waiting for a loose tie to work out if the miracle is 100% completed. That's still an ongoing story. God did pull a miracle. I'm just waiting for a little too like loose end to be taught up to be able to share that story. But God did pull through. And then, yeah, to work just like stopped. Like work just stopped. Like what has been a very kind of nice trickle in business service, for the work to just stop has been so weird. There's just been so many things where I've just been like, oh my gosh, God, like, I love you. I have faith in you. This is like crazy. Even to just come into Australia, you know, sorting out things to get here. And I just had to let it go, and God pulled through, and, you know, vehicle was provided for. I don't want to share messy stuff. Like, that's not what this is about, but just giving you kind of a perspective that things weren't easy to get here. I just had to surrender. God pulled through, and it was amazing. That was the first kind of real faith, like, oh my gosh, like I'm coming here out of pure 100% faith. And then the journey, so I got here, the beginning of March? I'm lost in the time zones now. So I've been here for a while now, and things just got crazier. Like hitting kangaroos, the ban, then something broke in my van. Different things have come up with health again, and just a couple of injuries. No work again. I'm just going to be really honest with you. Like, it has been an absolute humbling experience to go through this. That for work just to suddenly stop, it's just crazy. When in my head, I'm like, God, I need this the most now. And where is it? What's going on? What's the bigger picture? Show me what's going on. I trust you. This is really hard. This has never happened before. Like, what's going on? I've always been the one that's kind of worked and, you know, got 2 or 3 jobs if I'd needed to, and I've pushed through, and then I've been hustling hard, and hard to build that momentum, and it's felt like there's just been no traction. CWIB's been great, but it's its own thing, and it's just kind of ran differently to, like, running the automation girl. Like, whatever we make for CWIB, I put back into CWIB, and we lost a lot of members during COVID, so, like, building that base up for CWIB is starting to happen again, and it's beautiful, and I'm loving seeing that flourish again, which is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, just things have been wild, and taking the time out to look at, okay, when stuff's gone crazy like this weekend, my Mac just before the weekend decided that it had had enough of life. That triggered a whole lot of emotional stuff that I did not expect to come out, because that Mac has been with me through launching my first business, CWIB. It's been to conferences. It's just served God so amazingly well. And then it also brought up all the kind of different timelines that I'm kind of taking you through today of trauma and marriage and all the hard stuff it brought up. And then on Friday night, I think it was, we had a huge amount of rain come down at about 10 o'clock for about 30 minutes, and my studio flooded. Like, I was underwater. Just underwater. And it's only because I got up because I needed to get a drink that I found that I was flooded. So till about 1 a.m. in the morning, we were trying to bucket out, like, water from the studio, and then at about 2 a.m., it flooded again. I'm just like, that's what I'm like, if you've got past the overwhelm stage and you're just in the laughing stage, I hear you. And I just looked at the water again, and I was like, "I'm just gonna go back to bed. I just can't even." And so I just left the water there, went back to bed, and then we just dealt with it in the morning. It just feels like sometimes you're just being hammered, and you're being hammered hard. And I'm like, "God, this is all happening for a reason." Like, whatever the reason is, and whatever upgrade is coming after all this hardship, I am ready. Like, let's do this. If it's CWIV 2.0, like, let's go. If the automation girl, like, is gonna take on new levels, like, let's go. Or if something like else that's beautiful that comes out of this, let's go. Like, I'm hearing that the stripping back is happening and the bashing around is happening. And when I shared the post last week, like, literally events were unfolding. And I'm like, this is a Job season. A lot of people read it as Job from the Bible. This is a Job season where it feels like family members, like, over the few years, lost family members, income's just been stripped. Conference, like, I lost a lot of money and it costs a lot of money. God put that back though, so I shouldn't say that. It didn't go as expected. And then income just dries up. Look, different health things that have come up along the way. It has just been wild, like, full on wild. And when the computer broke, and I was sharing about it on Facebook, and I was saying, like, if you're just feeling like you're trundling away and you're hustling hard, even in God's grace, you still feel like you're just hustling and you're trying and nothing's just picking up traction. I hear you. And then I was like, okay, pull yourself together, go and have a shower, and, just give yourself a minute. And while I was in the shower, God reminded me that all the hard stuff did happen for Job, and he had friends around him that kind of didn't really give him good influence in, because I did go down. So I don't know how to pronounce their names, but he had 3 friends, and basically they were saying, well, you're receiving all this stuff, Job, because you've sinned, or, you've done something wrong, or you're not righteous enough, or there's a few different things that had come up that his friends were implementing onto Job. But Job wasn't that person, and he didn't sin, and he was very righteous, and his faith in God was tremendous and such a great example. And I did go through that. Gosh, have I sinned somehow? And like God's punishing me for this. Like my mind went into that. Like, what am I doing wrong? God, show me in my life what I'm doing wrong. Like, is there someone that I need to forgive? I was going through all of those practical things of, well, if you do something, like something bad happens because you do something wrong. And that's not the case. And Job is a really good example of, no, he was righteous. He had his faith. God knew of his faith, and he, like, bad stuff still happened to him. And oh, hang on. I should have got this ready before. I'm just gonna go grab my Bible. I think we're sold like this false pretense that, you know, I think it's because the church is scared that if people see God as bad, they won't come to Christ and they won't like allow Jesus in their life. And, you know, as I've been reading through the Bible even more intensely than what I have before, like, I'm just like, well, actually, you know, God needed to be reminded of things in the Old Testament. I can't remember where it was the other day I was reading. It was like, oh, and then God remembered about so and so. It was about the Israelites. Like, God needed to be reminded about them. I'm like, that's interesting. Anyway, just because something bad happens, what I'm saying, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the devil. And just because it's good also doesn't mean that it's God. And I heard that phrase like years ago, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And the more and more I'm getting into it, I'm like, well, actually, yeah, there's been some really like messed up things happen. And like the fear of God has been put into my heart, mind, and soul because of that. I get we've got Jesus. He's done amazing things. We're in a different time. But I think it's time we woke up who to truth and for the secrets of the Bible to be shown through the Holy Spirit as we're reading it in a more real context. Anyway, different podcast. So we get to the end of the story of Job, and you know, we've got these three friends, and God basically says to them, go make your sacrifice. Or in Job 42:7. After the Lord had said these things to Job, he said to Eliphaz, I'm angry with you and your two friends because you have not spoken the truth about me, as my servant Job has. So now seek 7 bulls and 7 rams and go to my servant Job's and sacrifice the burnt offerings for yourself. My servant Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer and not deal with you according to your folly. You have not spoken the truth about me, and my servant Job has. So Eliphaz, Bildad, Shuhite. Oh, sorry, no. Zophar. That was the name of the place. Zophar did what the Lord had told them, and the Lord accepted Job's prayer. After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. And so the friends thing, I'm like, friends, I'm praying for you. Like, I'm asking for your forgiveness if you're watching this video. Jokes aside. As I was in the shower, God reminded me, I know you're going through a hard season right now, but remember what I did for Job afterwards. Remember what I did to him afterwards. And I just had one of those moments of, oh my gosh, this is one of those moments where I'm being stripped back, ready for the next stage. This is my faith building moment. And I don't mean that as in it's all about me. Please hear me right when I say this. It is God's going to put more on my plate for me to do for him. I needed to be at another level to be able to handle that. God needs humans on earth to do things. It's proven time and time again. Moses, Abraham, Jesus, he needed a human. And he needs you. We have to go through the journey, though, of understanding how to become more righteous with faith, righteousness, how God works, understanding his kingdom, unlocking the secrets in the Bible, understanding the Holy Spirit and how he operates, and how we step into that next upgrade with God so we can better serve him. I hope I'm making sense here. So this isn't the upgrade of it's all about me and I'm about to get a Mercedes and, that stuff's amazing and it does happen. And as we can see with Job's story, when I'm about to share the next bit, that bit is like an awesome byproduct of the upgrade, but it's not where we're going with here. It's you need to be able to handle what's coming next and handle it in faith. And to do that, you need to go through hard stuff. So I'm getting ready for a powerlifting competition in 2 weeks. Despite all everything else that's been going on, I've been training really heavy. And to get to that competition, I've had to go through hard training. I've had to go through ripping my muscles apart, being in pain, sleeping a lot because my body needs to recover, eating a lot. And if I hadn't have gone through this hardship of the past few months or so, I wouldn't be ready for this competition as much as I am. So by going through this hard stuff, I'm now getting to this competition a little bit tired, a little bit battered, but I've grown and my body's grown and my muscles grown, my mind's grown. And this is exactly the same thing with you in your business and serving God and the kingdom. If you're being pulled back and you're going through this, what feels like a stripping, and that it's just one thing after another, you might be the most positive person ever. I know I'm certainly not like the most depressing person, like, because people will say, oh, you bring this on yourself, you've got a victim mindset. I'm like, dude, I am like very optimistic. I am all about positivity. This stuff is just happening. Like, it's completely out of my control. And I am focusing on the beautiful things that I do have and all the goodness. And it's just what it is. Like, you just can't make this stuff up. You just really can't. And so we are being prepared for what's next, is what I'm getting at. And good stuff is to come. You have done nothing wrong. You are, I don't know you and your story, but if you're thinking it's sin that's bringing this on, it's not. It's you being prepared. It's you going through training to be able to handle what's coming up next and how you operate on this earth in helping God with his bigger picture and how you can have influence on the earth while you're here for him to use you. So embrace this season. I say enjoy it. Enjoy the process of discovery, of learning. Be asking yourself, what lessons am I learning here? What aspects of my faith are being tested and grown, and how am I responding to that? It's okay to not be perfect through this and to go, okay, well, this happened and that happened, and this is what I learned from it as I went through it, and this is how I can work things out next. So going to Job 42:10, after Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had. All his brothers and sisters and everyone who had known him before came and ate with him in his house. They comforted each and consoled him over all the troubles the Lord had brought on him. The Lord had brought on him. Again, I'm just like, sometimes God just does this. And what can we learn from it as we're going through it? What is our faith being built? How are we approaching the situations that are coming upon us? Consoled him over the trouble the Lord had brought on him. And each one gave him a piece of silver and a gold ring. The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part. He had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels. Imagine having 6,000 camels. 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 donkeys. And he also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. The first daughter named Jemiah, and the second Keziah, the third Quran Habuch. Nowhere in all the land were there found women as beautiful as Job's daughters, and their father granted them inheritance along with their brothers. And after this, Job lived 140 years and saw his children and their children in the 4th generation. And so Job died as an old man, full of years. Be prepared for the upgrade. God's put you in business for a reason. If you are hard for God and want to push forward and you are doing the God, I'm on this earth for you. How can I serve you? What are we looking at moving forwards? How can I be better for you? How can, you know, I've got this mission of wanting to change whatever. Expect these seasons and don't be surprised when they come. Don't be surprised when you're being tested. Look at your character. How are you handling it? How are you growing in your own faith with it? So that you can use that for when the upgrade of however that looks comes, for when you're given the open door to go ahead, to speak, to make impact, to put forward the world of God on earth. Yeah. So I wanted to encourage you today. Embrace your Job. God's preparing you for something. And this season isn't happening just for the sake of it. It's not going to last forever. It is hard when you're in it. God is going to use it. And it's going to be for his glory. Remember, this is not about us. This is not about me. This is not about it's about how am I going to step into that for God, for him? How can I be here to serve him? He doesn't need us, but he does need us. He needs us to do things on earth for his glory and to bring things to life. So don't be afraid. This season's not going to last forever. He's got you. Trust the process and take in all the learnings that you can while you're in the season and really embrace it. It really is. It's hard, but it's a beautiful season to be in. It's a very beautiful season to be in. They say, diamonds don't become beautiful from not being under high pressure. And, when I think of women and diamonds and things, it does make me go a little bit inside. So I'm not looking at it at that point of view. I'm looking at the strength, like the pressure. And then how are you going to be showing up for God through it and after it and stepping into the next for him? So, we went a little bit deep with this week's podcast. That's okay. I'm taking you on this journey. Like, this is all very, very raw. It's very, very real. I'm not hiding anything. It is just coming at you how it is. And sometimes I do think unpolished and just sharing the journey is the best way for both of us to learn. Whether you're watching, listening years after, this is going to be relevant for so many people. No matter what stage you're at, no matter when you're listening to it. Like I said, this has happened for me time and time again. And, I'm like, oh my gosh, if this is this time, like, what's the next one going to be like? And to remind myself not to be surprised when it happens again. So the story is to be continued. We've got sunshine, we've got happiness, we're learning, we are here, we are doing this. I'm really looking forward to meeting some new ladies. We had a completely new bunch of ladies that came to the coffee and catch-ups on the Sunshine Coast last month, and I'm super excited to see who we get in Brisbane and meeting new ladies. People are asking, can we have them here? Can we have them there? We need leaders to kind of step up to be able to facilitate, and then we need to build in that area to kind of get things going. So if you are keen, please let me know. I'd love to chat to you. We are going to be looking at Melbourne next, which is exciting. We're meeting with the girls next week to organise the Melbourne, to do a bit of training and then get them on the way. And yeah, we'll just see what God does next with the different locations. But if he's put something on your heart for your location, please get in contact with us. hello@christianwomen.com or DM us on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, you're listening to the Christian Women in Business podcast. Story to be continued.